Welcome to Jesse Waters Primetime tonight.
It's clear from these notes he was targeting ICE agents. He wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel.
The left says ICE is asking for it.
The people who are starting to act out against this feel it's their only recourse.
This is not a time for those who are weak of heart to take on what we're up against. We need warriors.
Hillary's holding out for a hero. Instead, we got Kamala.
You're not letting me talk. Hey, let's bring the temperature down.
The way that J.D. Vance got into Yale is because they were tired of just letting in white men from New York, and they wanted an Appalachian white.
Happy DEI Thursday. Plus,
breaking right now, a grand jury has just handed down an indictment for former FBI Director James Comey.
Fox News alert, James Comey just became the first FBI director to face criminal charges. Just moments ago, the Department of Justice announced a Virginia grand jury indicted James Comey on 2 charges for obstruction and for making a false statement to Congress. Here's the moment when Comey got caught.
Mr. McCabe, who works for you, has publicly, repeatedly stated that he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal and that you were directly aware of it and that you directly authorized it.
I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017.
So your testimony is you've never authorized anyone to leak.
I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
No one's above the law, and lying to Congress is a crime. And now he's facing up to 5 years in prison. Comey should have known this would have caught up to him. He knew Hillary planted the Russia hoax, and he used the hoax to spy on the Trump campaign. He used undercover agents and doctored evidence. After Trump won, Comey should have known that caught up to him. He knew Hillary planted the Russia hoax, and he used the hoax to spy on the Trump campaign. He used undercover agents and doctored evidence. After Trump won, Comey tried to take him down from the inside, but got caught. He's accused of authorizing his dirty number 2, Andy McCabe, to leak to the press. That's what he lied to Congress about. And this obstructed the congressional investigation and tore our country to pieces. Now, after he got fired, he confessed to leaking documents to a reporter to trigger a special counsel in order to impeach Trump.
Did you show copies of your memos to anyone outside of the Department of Justice?
Yes.
And to whom did you show copies?
I asked, President tweeted on Friday after I got fired that I better hope there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night on Monday night because it didn't dawn on me originally that there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a close friend of mine to do it.
Comey was sniffed out staging a coup and framing the president as a traitor, a Russian operative, then leaking and lying to Congress about his operations. These are actual crimes. Remember, they had to make up crimes to charge Trump. 34 felony counts, charges for a crime that have never been brought before in the history of our country. This isn't revenge, it's accountability. Biden gave Merrick Garland the green light to indict Trump, and they indicted dozens of high-ranking Republican officials and hundreds of Republican activists. They put a lot of people in prison. They censured us. They debanked us. They spied on parents. So this is nothing. So far, the Trump DOJ has indicted 2 Republicans, John Bolton and James Comey. And why would we believe Comey's side of the story? He lied about Russia for years. Now, he's innocent until proven guilty, and he's going to have to make a case in court. But we just hope he didn't spend all of his book advance money, because he's going to have to spend a lot on lawyers. Let's bring in former law clerk to Justice Gorsuch, Mike Davis. All right, Mike, how easy of a case is this to prosecute in Virginia?
Well, I don't know if any case is easy, particularly in the Eastern District of Virginia that's loaded up with Democrats, including a lot of government workers. But I would say this is a clear-cut case if the jury follows the evidence of false statements provided to the Senate Judiciary Committee by FBI Director James Comey and obstruction of a congressional investigation. The grand jury agreed. The grand jury indictments on those two counts. I want to congratulate Attorney General Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, and FBI Director Kash Patel and Lindsay in the Eastern District of Virginia for putting together this case. And I think this is the beginning of the accountability and certainly not the end for these lawfare Democrats that politicized, weaponized law enforcement and intel agencies to take out their political opponent, Donald Trump, and to help their political ally, Hillary Clinton. Just
again, taking shots at the king, you best not miss. All these people went up against Trump, and Trump is just getting his get back, taking everybody down.
Justice is definitely coming.
All right, so they're going to say this is the revenge tour. And what is Comey going to say? I didn't authorize anybody to leak. I never leaked. I never lied about it. He's on tape.
Yeah, I would say this to James Comey, as these Democrats, including James Comey, constantly reminded Republicans nobody's above the law. And James Comey is certainly not above the law, as just found out tonight.
The prosecution, you're saying, is going to start with James Comey, and there could be other people that were involved in Russia and all of the mistreatment of Donald Trump. Are you saying that other people should be cautious and preserve documents?
Yeah.
I would say to these lawfare Democrats that politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement to go after President Trump, his top aides, and his allies, these lawfare Democrats better lawyer up, because justice is definitely coming. I have publicly called for this for over 3 years. Since the Mar-a-Lago raid, I've gone on your show and talked about this many times, Jesse. We had an election, and the American people are going to get accountability.
All right. Mike Davis, good to talk to you. Thank you so much. New York Post.
A lot of people are going down. Like I said, if you come at the king, you best not miss. They try their hardest to take down Trump, and everybody missed. And now he's getting back his hits.
Post columnist Miranda Devine. Miranda, you've covered James Comey for a long time. What do you think he's thinking right now?
Look, I think a peculiar man whose psychology really was unsuited for that job. He was under enormous pressure after Democrats blamed him for Hillary Clinton losing the 2016 election. Can you imagine the entire hatred of the Democrat part of the country, and that very nasty party came down on his head? And plus you have the fact that his wife and his two daughters Trump deranged themselves. They were interviewed at the Pussy Hat March in Washington, D.C., saying nasty things about Donald Trump. So he had it coming from all sides. So I think in his own mind, his way of making good with Democrats for the Clinton loss was to basically undermine Donald Trump, to cook up this fake investigation, to trawl for some sort of crime. He perverted the course of justice. What he's been indicted with is just the tip of the iceberg. And I guess it's difficult. And so they had to get it in quickly under the statute of limitations. But I think this is small beer compared to what, the crimes that he really was guilty of, whether they be legal or moral. He crippled Donald Trump's first 3 years of his first term. He did great damage to this country, And I think he's a weak and dishonest man, and he deserves what's coming to him. And as Mike said, it's accountability. And, you know, that's so important, because the only way that you stop this lawfare continuing is by bringing some of these people to justice. You need heads on pikes. And I think Donald Trump understands that this term, whereas his first term, I think he was inclined to let bygones be bygones. He knew that his MAGA base had been chanting at rallies for him to lock her up with Hillary Clinton. And then he came into office and said, oh, no, she's a nice person, I'll let her go. Don't think he's going to make that mistake again. So James Comey, I think, is just the first of several big scalps.
Yeah, these are, I guess, what you'd call smaller charges. He's facing 5 years. But you're right. He committed crimes against the country and destroyed our relationship with Russia, ruined several diplomatic relationships with the Italians, the British, the Australians. They were involved in the hoax, and distracted the country when we should have been focused on things like COVID, the economy, the border. It was a horrible time in this country when James Comey had unleashed this vicious political virus. Will he now just go on Kimmel?
Yeah, probably. Look, he'll be the patron saint now of the Democrats. I guess that's what he wanted. It's a high price to pay. Really, he was a puppet of the Democratic machine. And it shows you how vicious and punitive they are, that he felt that he had to go to these lengths to try and salvage his reputation with the Democrats. I guess that's worked, because he'll now be their hero. He'll be, patient zero in Donald Trump.
That's the worst case scenario, when you got to take yourself out to help the team. Like, that's some psychological craziness that they got people convinced that they got to go above and beyond the Call of Duty just to help the party out.
Trump's revenge tour, as they will characterize it. I think that he's weak, and he will end up one way or the other. He's being punished.
All right. Thank you so much, Miranda. We now have former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan. I bet James Comey was wishing Joe Biden had given him one of those preemptive pardons.
That is correct, Jesse. And you and I have spoken about this several times. And, Jesse, he is the reason back in 2016, with respect to taking a FBI institution that their reputation was always beyond reproach. No one ever challenged the confidence in any of the investigations that ever came out of the FBI. But when he held that press conference in July of 2016 and took a position which should have been through then acting Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and took her position to make a prosecution decision that they were not going to prosecute Hillary Clinton. That was then the downfall and the beginning of the reputation of the FBI becoming permanently damaged and eroded. And quite frankly, then he was solicited by outside forces, by the Clintons and by Barack Obama and others, to then, could you imagine, where he's in the inner circle with the highest, with the President of the United States, keeping notes on the president and utilizing those notes to keep them in his back pocket to at some point try to pull them out as quote unquote, gain favor. This man was dishonest, and he took advantage, and quite frankly, he should be held accountable. The only thing I hope and pray for is that this finally will be the beginning of rehabilitating the reputation of the men and women, and quite frankly, what's going on in the world, the men and women of the FBI who are keeping us, or trying to keep us safe and sound. Hopefully this is the beginning of trying to get them back on course and showing us Americans that this FBI was in fact weaponized. It was polarized, and they were being used for the purpose of dethroning President Trump, which in and of itself could not have ever been imagined in modern American history. But quite frankly, we got there. Now, thankfully, Kash Patel is trying to clean it up.
Yeah, we grew up idolizing the FBI, thinking everything they did was clean, just, and he destroyed that. and hopefully it can be built. It will take a while, but it will take some justice. And today is one of those days. Stuart, always great to talk to you. Thank you so much. The sniper in Texas, Democrats are saying ICE deserved it.
Well, there you have it. James Comey about to go down as one of the people that went up against Trump. And they try their hardest to take him down. So all you can think about is when you come at the king, you best not miss. Trump is taking everybody down. And this is just one of those pieces. A small pawn if you really think about it. But it needs to happen. By the way, if you enjoyed the show so far, give it a thumbs up. I'm going to wrap it up early today. I am trying to get back. Little by little, slowly but surely. That sounds corny. But again, my name is Noel. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. What? I'm still on? I thought I clicked bye.